Do you ever get frustrated that your business isn't growing as fast as you'd like? Or do you ever feel stuck, like the only way to grow your business is for you to work harder, faster, and longer? Or do you ever get so overwhelmed with so much to do that you feel paralyzed and you're not sure what you should focus in on? Well, if any of that is true, you're going to love today's video because I'm going to help you by giving you the simplest, easiest, fastest way that you can design a more scalable business model that won't require more and more from you, but will allow your business to grow faster without as much labor intensity from you. So if you're excited, then pay attention and apply these principles that I'm going to share with you today. Now, if you're not familiar with the phrase business model, it simply describes how you make money. You have a business model. We just want to put it down on a piece of paper. And a business model canvas, then, is the visual representation of your business model. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you my version of a business model canvas. It's the simplest, easiest version I've ever found. And I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can take what your current model is, and then you can make it more scalable. Now, it's not going to be that hard for you to do. In fact, let me just show you what a business model canvas looks like. And this is the one we're going to look at now. And by the way, this is free. You can download it by going to the show notes and getting a version of this so you don't have to pay for it. But I'm going to walk you through each one of these 9 components in just a few moments. But before I do that, I want to share with you a couple ideas. First and foremost, in order to make something more scalable, you need to know where you're starting. So the first thing you want to do when we go through this is you're going to want to document your current business model. Whatever it is that you're currently doing, we're just going to document it. Then step 2, we're going to ask, is there a more scalable way to do this part of the business model canvas? Is there a more scalable way? That's the only question. It's not that hard. Third thing, you do not need to change all 9 boxes, okay? You just need to figure out, is there 1 or 2 or 3? Because if you just change one area, it's by definition more scalable than what you currently have. Chances are there are probably going to be 2 or 3 areas where you're going to go, like, we could fix that. If we fix that, that could unleash a whole amount of growth. And so don't be overwhelmed. You don't have to change all 9. I'm going to walk you through all 9 because you don't know where you're going to make the change now, but you don't have to change all 9. And the last thing I want to say before we get started is this. Complexity doesn't scale. Simplicity scales. And what I observe in a lot of small businesses is that they're trying to do too many things. And that becomes too complex. You're going after too many target markets with too many problems, trying to offer too many solutions. And when you add all of that complexity, it makes it hard to scale. You can literally build $1 million plus a year business off of one target market, solving one problem with one offering. Okay, so simplicity scales, complexity doesn't. With all that said, now let's take a look at this business model canvas. And the canvas is pretty simple here. Looks just like this. Let me blow that up for you so it's a little bit easier for you to see. And you can see that the first box is the customer box, And what you want to do here is you're trying to ask the question, who is my target market? And the biggest mistake I see here, remember we talked about complexity earlier, is people go after too many target markets, right? The everyone market doesn't work very well. It's not very scalable. So if you're going after, healthcare and education, and you're going after direct to consumer, and you're going after, professional service firms, and it's really hard to scale that, especially if you're not past $1 million a year, even if you're not past going 10 million a year. So probably what you want to do is you want to simplify down and say, hey, let's focus in on a specific target market so that we really can dial in on a problem that they have. So chances are you're probably going to have to reduce down and find what is the most profitable segment that we can easily reach. And that will make it more scalable rather than going after a bunch of different niches. So that's a typical strategy. Another way that you might make it more scalable after you write down who your target market is you might actually decide, hey, we need to go upscale. So maybe you're going after, people who don't have a lot of money, go after people who have a lot of money, right? That'll probably allow you to charge more and add more margin, which will then allow you to scale a lot faster. So in box number 1, remember, all you need to do is try to write down who is our current target market. And then once you write down who they are, how can we make this more scalable? So that's box number 1. And then you're going to go to box number 2, and that is the problem box. So in the problem box, what you're doing is you're trying to say, What problem is it that that group of people have that we can solve? And write down what the problem is that you're solving. And what I want you to do is ask, how can we make this more scalable? In this case, it might be that what you're currently going after is you're solving a problem somebody has, but it's a nice to solve problem. It's not an urgent to solve. That's usually the biggest problem. If you have a nice to solve problem, it takes a long time to get people to buy. Your sales cycle is a lot longer. If it's something that's urgent, then it's a lot easier to sell and it's easier to scale that. In the marketing world, we say this is the difference between being in the aspirin business and being in the vitamin business. If you're in the vitamin business and someone runs out of vitamins, they don't run to the store that next week. They try to remember, they forget. It takes them a couple of weeks before they remember to order. And then finally they go, I should probably just go on Amazon and get my vitamins, right? It takes them weeks. If someone has a headache and they're out of aspirin, then they immediately go to the store because they want to get rid of that headache. So chances are when you're looking at the problem that you're solving right now, it's probably something that's nice to solve. It's a vitamin problem. What you want to do is figure out, is there a way we can make this an aspirin? And it doesn't necessarily have to change what you're doing. It's changing what you're going after. For example, let's just say you're a personal trainer. I'm recording this at the beginning of May. So summer bathing season is coming up. If you're a personal trainer and you're trying to say, hey, you want to lose weight or do you want to gain muscle? I mean, everybody knows you should do those things. Those are in the nice to have category. But it's May and swimsuit season is only, 6 weeks away. So at that point, you might say, hey, the urgent problem isn't that they want to lose weight or get in shape. They want to get bikini ready or swimsuit ready. Or maybe it's wedding season. They want to get ready for their wedding and they want to, look great in their dress or, make sure they impress all their friends at the wedding or something like that. So you're just trying to say, hey, is there an urgent want? Is there an urgent need that people have? And how can I make sure that I'm solving that problem? Not the want problem, but the urgent want problem. And if you do that, it'll automatically make what you're doing more scalable. So that's box number 2. Now, if we go to box number 3, the third box is going to be the solution box. This is what you're currently offering to solve that problem. So you need to have a group of people who has a problem that they urgently want to solve, and then you have to come up with the right solution that will cause them to go like, I need that. So your 6-week, bikini ready program is what they want right now. Not they want to spend the next 6 months or 12 months at the gym working out. So you're just trying to say, what is the solution that I could then offer to this group of people that they would urgently want? And just play around with your solution to make it more scalable. If right now, everything is customized, that's not good. You want to find an offer that you can bring to a bunch of people that you can offer to them that they're going to say, yeah, that's the thing that I want. So that's box number 3. So you need to make sure that you're solving a problem that people urgently want with a solution that they'll immediately go, that's it. And that brings us to the 4th box. And the 4th box is really important, because the 4th box is the competitive advantage box. And the competitive advantage or the differentiation box is really important because there are going to be other people who are going to be offering what you're offering. You need to say that this solution that I have is unique and different, and you want this because of these reasons. And they need to be good, tangible reasons, not because we have good customer service, not because we're best in class, but you need to have some kind of proof to do that, right? So if you want to say customers, love us, you need to be able to say, hey, on a scale of, 5.0, we get 4.9. People go, oh, then they probably do that. So you want to find a good, tangible way to differentiate what you're doing versus all your other competitors, whether it's on a guarantee or some kind of convenience thing, or maybe there's some level of expertise, or maybe you have some unique strategy or formula. Whatever it is, you need to find, 2, 3, 4 unique ways that you can communicate to your target market that this is what they want. Because if you nail this, it will be far more scalable because people are easily going to go, oh, I want that. And they've got the proof that this is the reason why I want that thing. So that's box number 4. So you figure out what your current competitive advantages are. Can you make them more scalable? That's going to then lead us to box number 5. The 5th box is this. It's the marketing channels box. The marketing channels box. So in this case, what you're doing here is you're trying to figure out what is the way that we're getting in front of people and letting them know, getting their eyeballs on this offer. How are you doing that currently? Write it in and then say, is there a more scalable way to do this? For example, let's say right now you primarily depend upon referrals. Nothing wrong with referrals. Referrals are great, but are referrals scalable? No, right? Like you don't have that much control over that. But if you use a direct paid marketing strategy, that's more scalable, right? Because you can just decide I'm going to pay more money and I'll get this in front of more eyeballs. Sponsorships would get in front of more eyeballs. So it doesn't always have to be Facebook ads or something like that. Direct mail works as well. But you want to figure out if you can control the number of people, that's more scalable than if you're depending on somebody referring you like a client. So that's box number 5. It's really important. Remember, you don't have to fix all of these. You just need to fix a couple of them. But if you fix a couple of them, it can change the game for you and your company. Now we're going to go to the 6th box, and this is the conversion or sales process box, right? Because now that you've gotten in front of a group of people and more eyeballs are seeing it, how are you going to get more people to cross the line and say, yeah, I want to buy this thing. I'm going to give you money. So what is your sales process? Write that down. And then do you use salespeople? And then you want to say, is there a more scalable way to do this? For example, if you're a small business owner and right now you do most of the sales, that's not very scalable because you're not scalable, right? It breaks down there. So maybe you need to hire a sales team. That would make it more scalable. If you already have a sales team, maybe the question would be, is there a way to automate some of this so that it doesn't have to mean that somebody is actually having a conversation with a salesperson? That would make it more scalable. So you're just looking at the process. Is there something you can take out of the process? Is there a more automated way you can do this? And then you'd make it more scalable. So what's your current sales process? How can you make it more scalable? Then that brings us to our next box, number 7. The 7th box is the delivery or fulfillment box, right? Because you've made an offer to a group of people, and those group of people are going to say yes to that. And then once they say yes to that, how are you going to get that to them? So what is your current process of delivery? And then you want to ask the question, is there a more scalable way to do this? For example, if right now you're currently the one delivering the service, you're not scalable, you got to figure out, could I hire some other people to do that? That would make it more scalable. Or maybe right now you're doing it all in-house and maybe you need to outsource that. Because if you outsourced it, then it would become more scalable because it's their responsibility to respond to your demand. So if you have a high demand, they've got to find the people rather than you finding the people. So there are plenty of ways to take that delivery and figure out, is there a more automated way that we could do this? Or could we outsource some of this? Or can we hire some more people to do this? Is there a way that we could no longer customize this and actually do this more in a routine way? For example, let's say right now your solution is 50% customized. Well, if you created a solution that you could use that's standardized and like 90% of it is standardized and only 10% is customized, it is by definition more scalable than what you have right now, because right now 50% of it's customized. So you're just taking each segment of your business model and saying, can we make this, can we tweak this and make it a little bit more scalable? That's box number 7. Box number 8 is the pricing box. And so you're looking at the pricing box and saying, hey, based on this group of people and what we're offering to them and how we're selling it and how we're marketing it, like how do we need to price this so that we can, of course, make some money on it? Now, when you're pricing it, if right now every job is unique and you're having to come up with a unique price for every project that's being done, that's not very scalable. So if you came up with a fixed price for your product or service, that would become more scalable. If you came up with a price that had enough margin in it so that you could hire more people, then that becomes a more scalable deal. If you're currently pricing it and you have different levels of service, maybe you can create like a 3-tier pricing schedule. So you kind of have the bronze, silver, gold, maybe even the platinum level, and therefore anyone who is at your company could easily price out when someone's asking for a quote because you've already come up with your packages. Right? There are lots of ways to play with the pricing box, but you need to come up with a more scalable version than what you currently have if you can adjust this box. And that leads us to the 9th box, and that is the profit model. So at some point you need to kind of forecast, whatever this model is, how many customers or clients do you think that you're going to get? And then based on your COGS and your expenses, when it's all taken out, Are you going to have the profit that you want? So if you want 10, 15, 20, 25% profit at the bottom, work the numbers and then come back and you might say, hey, we need to go back into the model and we need to go after a different target market, or maybe we need to solve a different problem, or we need to come up with a better solution, or maybe we need to make this more differentiated so more people are going to want it, or maybe we need to get in front of more eyeballs. And so as you walk through this, you keep playing with it on one sheet of paper until you feel like, you know what, we've nailed it. This is a pretty good business model. It is the simplest, easiest way that you can play with your whole business model on one sheet of paper, right? You don't have to sit there in your head and keep thinking about it. Print out this piece of paper and just play with it. And what I would recommend is that for every target market, you have your own business model canvas. For every product, you should have your own business model canvas, because each industry is different. Each product or service is different. So come up with multiple business models that will describe how you're going to make money, and then just make sure at the end of the day that there's the profit that you want. So you want the easiest, fastest way to design a more scalable business model. I can't think of one better than this one. So I hope what you're going to do is you're going to take this, download it, put in whatever your current business model is, and then go box by box and ask, can I make this more scalable? And if you can change 1 or 2 or 3 of those boxes, by definition, it's more scalable. Then 6, 9, 12 months from now, go back at it again and keep going at it over and over again, because year after year, you're going to keep tweaking it until you get the most scalable version of this business model for you. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, I encourage you to watch this other video on the difference between scaling and growing. Might be really helpful. And if you'd like my personal help, check out the Biz Scalers Grow and Scale Accelerator at bizscalers.com/accelerator. Until next time, to accelerate success, Bruce out.